Hey there, Sheepdogs. Welcome to the Sheepdogs Union. Today I want to talk about training again, but this time not so much what we train and how we train, but how we talk about training. Um, One of the things that we have to think about, because what we do is politically incorrect. It's a politically contentious issue. Um, as much as I hate to admit it and think it, image is important. Optics are important. And one of the things that I've seen, something that you will hear frequently from both pro and anti-gun people is that the required training that you get, if your state requires training to have a concealed carry permit, is totally not adequate, totally not enough training. I tend to agree with that, but the problem is that the two groups have a different definition of adequate, and often a different definition of training. And there's a number of myths around this that I think when we say things like, the training you get for your concealed carry permit is inadequate, without explaining that what we mean by that is not inadequate for you to safely and responsibly and even effectively carry a firearm for defensive purposes. What we mean by that is it's not enough for you to reach your maximum potential, right? But if we just say it's not enough, then somebody will come along and hear that and say, oh, it's not enough to be safe. The training that you need to be safe, you can get with a 5-minute conversation with the clerk at the gun store, if the clerk at the gun store knows what he's talking about, So we have to make sure that we differentiate that when we're talking, especially, we got to remember, if we're putting stuff out on YouTube, non-gun guys watch YouTube videos occasionally, and or if you're being interviewed for a news piece or something. So the way we talk about training contributes to the myth that it's difficult to use and carry a gun safely and effectively for defensive purposes. The other thing that happens, we tend to be more conservative, and so we tend to support police and kind of put them up on a pedestal. And that also contributes to another myth that the police are super duper well trained. Because I've known some cops, they're not. Like, some of them are, but again, if your state requires training for a concealed carry permit, odds are that the required training for the cops isn't actually a whole lot more than that. Cops overall get a lot more training than we do, but in terms of relevant training, in terms of stuff about carrying a gun, it's really about the same as what you get if your state requires it. So when we're so we need to be cognizant that we're not perpetuating those myths. That's the name of a software package I used to use. Interesting. So the where was I? How we talk about training and dispelling the myths. So just keep that in mind when you talk about needing training and other people needing training, that you need to specify that that's not, you don't mean minimum training to be safe. You mean minimum training to reach your maximum effectiveness. And also understanding that, if you have that 5-minute conversation with the gun store clerk about gun safety, and then you go to the range a couple of times, if you can hit a man-sized target 90% of the time at 5 yards, you are as well trained as most police. That's not enough. Everybody should have more training. You want more training, but it doesn't make you unsafe. It means that you're not going to be as effective as you could be. So with that, just a reminder to always be careful how you present yourself and how you present what we do to the public, because people are watching and people are forming their opinions, and public opinion can change the law. So, all right, see you later. Always remember to be ready to be somebody else's miracle.